Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Marketplace Mavericks. I am your host, John, and today we got a special guest. We have Christina with us. She does not just do brand direct what I do. She does a little bit of everything on Amazon and other marketplaces along with UGC, and we are going to get into all of it in this week's episode. Christina, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm really excited to talk to you and get to know you and share with the audience, some
Yeah,
saucy
we
sauce.
are going to get into all of this. We are going to go over Christina is partly on the show today because of my daughters. They got into my Instagram, and as scrolling through it, they were like, why are there not any women in this space? And all we ever see you do is interview boys.
And truth
So,
be told, the only reason why I'm here is because of his daughters.
and I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. We have interviewed women here, but it was more women in the prep space, um, not so much just in the selling space. So, Christina, why don't you kind of break down, your history, where you came from? We know that you are doing this as a full time job. You aren't working any sort of 9 to 5 job, so you are on your own, just like I am. So, tell
hmm
us a little bit about your journey into this and how long you've been in it.
Sure. So my journey started back in 2021 during COVID when I was laid off from work. I was just organically scrolling through YouTube and stumbled on a video about Amazon. Her name was Nikki Kirk. She was like riding in an RV throughout the lower 48 states, and she would stop at each state and go to the Walmarts, go to the Marshalls, and like source those places and pack it up and ship it off to Amazon. So that was really interesting to me because I was like, oh my God, you can make a living shopping? Like, this is designed for me. So fell down a rabbit hole, just kept on looking and researching, and it just continued to intrigue me. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to open an account. So fast forward, the same time that I opened an account, I actually accepted a new job to open a restaurant. So prior to doing e-commerce, I was in restaurant management for about 7 years of my life. So when I accepted this job, it's a lot to open a restaurant just from scratch, right? So I had to table this Amazon thing and focus on that. I did that for a year, and then at that point I felt the same as I had been feeling prior to opening the Amazon account, which was a sense of I didn't feel fulfilled anymore. I felt like every single day was like Groundhog's Day, like it was the same thing every single day. And I was like, I can't do this another year, another 5 years, another 20 years. Like, God, I'd go crazy if I did that. And I always knew that I wanted to be my be my own boss. I thought back then it would be in the capacity of like opening my own restaurant. And listen, that still might be like a passion project down the line, but it turned out to be e-commerce. So I was working my full-time job and then I was building this on the side because I mean, it takes time, you
Mm-hmm.
know? You don't just like open this account, start selling and you start like making buku bucks the next day and, say good riddance to everybody else. So I was building this on the side for about a year and a half. And then at that point, I decided to put in my notice at my work and then take this on full time. After I left, I pretty much like took a sabbatical and like kind of like chilled and enjoyed life for a year, which was great. I recommend if you can do that, do it. It's fun. But truthfully, to be your own boss is hard in like a lot more respects than people realize because now you are responsible for you. There's no one telling you you have to clock in at this time, you have to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't have the drive to push yourself to do it yourself, you're not gonna do anything and you're just gonna fail and you're gonna make no money. But we finally got it. We finally got it together. We finally built a schedule, a structure that worked, and now we're here.
Yeah, it is for sure. And every time I've talked to people about, I've been on other podcasts and they've asked me like, how'd you scale so fast? And a big part of it is I always point out is, hey, I did this as a full-time job from day one. That's not how most people do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I was able to go from 0 to 10 hours a day on day one. And that is in this space pretty rare. Um, and I had no choice but to make it because I gave myself 1 year until I had to start paying myself.
Yeah.
Um, and
And
it
even
is, it's,
speaking on that, just speaking on that, like you were able to fully dive into it. And I would say like a lot of people in this space that you watched, they're very young. And and
mhm,
and the young ones find success. But you also have to keep in mind like they're young. They may not have as much responsibility as like say you or me do. Like maybe they don't have kids, maybe they live at home. They don't have rent or mortgage or you know what I mean? Like car
God
insurance
bless
and
them.
exactly. So by all means, like if you're young and you're doing this, like pedal to the metal because one day you will have some responsibilities and it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
You can't take as many risks as you can when you're younger. Or I guess you can't take as many risks as when you have like a cushion or like a backup plan.
Exactly. Exactly. So tell us a little bit more about just what you are doing. Um, Not just on Amazon, but just in general across the e-commerce and social media space.
So primarily right now I do Amazon OA and as well as AIP, which is the Amazon Influencer Program. And
Mm,
then just like a natural pivot from that, I'm starting to build out like a UGC profile.
okay. And now, does that kind of marry together with with the Amazon influencer program? Do they kind of not work together, but are they similar to if you really get into the AIP? Is it a natural shift to the UGC?
That's what I would say. I would say it's a
Okay.
natural shift because so UGC stands for user generated content. So when you're producing these Amazon reviews, you're it naturally hones in your skill as a content creator.
Hmm.
And as you continue to do more reviews, as you continue to get more comfortable behind the camera, as you continue to get more comfortable speaking to the camera, all of those things, just naturally translate into like, hey, let's do UGC or let's do like affiliate marketing or whatever else we can do with this new skill that we've developed.
Yeah, I have really, and this is just me that I have thought this. Um, as people, as a side hustle, I there are people in the OA space that are making massive amounts of money and doing fantastic. Most of those people have been in it for several years and they have opportunities where someone like me that started in a year ago and even changed since then, um, they are ungated in products that I could never be ungated in. Um, they have more opportunity with that than others. And I am a pretty hard believer that starting OA today is much more difficult to really scale and probably is not a side hustle. I don't think that is where I would say, like, hey, if you want to make an extra $2,000 a month, I look at the Amazon influencer program as much more of something you can scale, but something if you're looking to make extra money, you don't really have to invest any money when you do it. You get a whole bunch of free stuff, I would assume. Um, and if I was I started this business knowing like, hey, I want to do this full time, move into wholesale. Somebody saying, hey, I'm really not looking to scale and I'm looking for something that I can do as a side hustle. I would think as a side hustle, if you don't have to invest your own money, that is, I don't really consider side hustles when I have to put a whole bunch of my money out to do it. A side hustle to me is something that is either more labor intensive or something that is where I am directly taking money. And that's the Amazon influencer program, is you're able to build up and make money off of free products.
Yeah.
And then you can sell those. What do you do with all the products? Because they have to start to stack up. I've seen guys with like e-bikes and like really, I'm sure it takes a little while to be able to do that, but like they have expensive things. What do they do with them?
So I am unfortunately not one of the ones who is privy to that level quite yet.
Sure.
But like to that point, like you stay consistent with it. There's like different tiers for the Amazon influencer program. You start off as bronze, there's silver, there's gold, and then it's platinum. Platinum is the only badge that the brands are able to see on your page. So if they see a platinum badge, and they know like you're like a premium reviewer of sorts. And so ideally it makes sense for them to send you an expensive item because they kind of know you have the skill to push it and bring value to them. But what do you do with the product? What do I do with the product? If I'm going to be honest with you right now, I haven't done anything with the product. It's collecting dust in my storage unit. Do I have to do something with the product? Yes. So yes, I have items that I need to. So I have a lot of clothing items. And so one thing that I would like to do is bring it to Plato's Closet. If you're familiar with that, it's like a consignment shop to see just because it's like really quick, just like give it to them. They sort through it. Like what I make, like $50, whatever. Just like take whatever you can. And then at that point, if I get it back, maybe I'll do eBay, maybe, but it's just, I feel like it's just so much work for me.
It is.
It's just so much work to do eBay. I have to like take photos, I have to make a listing, and then now I have to hold on to this product until someone buys it, however long that's going to take, if someone buys it. So what I primarily do, I either let it sit or I pretty much give it away for free at this point in the game.
It was free for you.
Exactly.
You've made your profit off
of it. Yeah, which is insane to think about, to get a product for free, you've already made the cost of the product, and then you've made money on top of that as well. And the best thing that I always say about AIP is that it's evergreen. So once you make that video, so long as that product is selling on Amazon, you will forever make commission off of it if someone watches it and then buys the product.
So it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
The more you do it, it just starts to like.
The more you do it,
every single product. It's not a lot of money each time, but compound that over and over and over again, and you start to really build yourself a catalog of videos and ways to create money, ways to create income.
Yeah, absolutely. I know plenty of people in the space who make a living off of it, who make like $4 or $5 grand a month off of it, and people who make more than that. But listen, they're like insane with it. They're pumping out probably like 100 videos a day, which God bless them. I don't know how they're doing it, but like more power to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's the nice part is you can do it as much or as little as you want to.
Exactly.
You can spend all day long pumping them through, or pick 3 days of your days that you're going to do it. And that's to me, that's more of side hustle type money. If I was choosing to do a side hustle, I would do something like that over investing my own money.
Yeah.
I started investing my own money into OA because I wanted to learn Amazon and keep on going with it. But some people get into it and that's never their goal. So I think the Amazon influencer program kind of gives you another avenue to make money, because obviously you're trying to just do a bunch of different things and kind of put it all together, and at the end of the week or the end of the month, you're able to make decent money. And the best part is not work for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I also always truly believe that you should never have all your eggs in one basket, especially like being on someone else's platform. such as
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. And we've seen this time and time again with
Oh
everyone,
yeah.
section threes, or like, I don't know, like you get gated on something that you used to be able to sell, and now you're stuck with all this inventory, or whatever the case may be. Like,
Sure.
you should never be overly invested or just singularly invested in one thing, because you ultimately have no control over it.
Right.
You're selling today, you're gone tomorrow. And
Yeah.
if you're all
It
in on
is.
that,
It is one of the most challenging things for me in this space, and I think entrepreneurs in general, is to when to know to put the blinders on and focus, and when to expand and pay attention to what's going on around you. Perfect example is, all the blowing up of AI. Like, at what point do you really need to do it? Uh, I'm ultra focused on things like that because I come from a taxi business, where the taxi industry ignored changes and it just stayed tunnel vision. Now it's gone because
mhm,
of that, because of Uber, because of things like that, and because the industry in general was just too tunnel visioned, it got steamrolled. So
mhm,
it's one of my biggest challenges to kind of know, because the more you do one thing, the better you get at it. But at what
absolutely.
point do you expand? I've been very lucky in doing well in brand direct, but with these brands, I'm working on get. I don't have to worry so much about the listings just going away, because I'm in their registry. I'm an exclusive seller for them. But what am I missing out by not expanding them to TikTok, not expanding them to Shopify or Walmart or other places? I'm in a mode right now where it's like, no, we need to like stick with Amazon and scale that to where we're making a living, and then start to expand
I
into other
think
avenues.
I think everyone moves at their own pace.
Yeah.
Everyone knows when it's the right time for them. It's I always say it's not a race and it's not a competition. Just because one person's doing one thing, they're motivation, inspiration. They're not competition. You
No,
don't know. You
no,
don't know. Like, our lives are different from their lives. We have different
exactly.
things going on. Yeah. So
Exactly.
for a long time, I felt like I was behind, and I often feel like that, here and there as well. But
Mm,
you just have to, like, take a breath, take a moment, and be like, this is my life, this is my
yeah.
journey, and when it feels
Don't
right for me, I will do
yeah,
whatever I
don't
feel
look at
is right
everyone
next.
else's orange bars and think that they're just better at it than you.
Yeah. And orange
Because I have
bars
people,
mean nothing.
they don't mean
They
anything.
mean nothing.
No, I was like, I've had people ask me that, they're like, hey, I just can't scale as fast as you. They're like, you've just gotten so good at it. I was like, and I told this one woman that's in my online group, I was like, you're running a business aside from this. She has like a very good corporate. She's getting ready to like retire. Different situation than young people, or different situation than me. And I was like, I'm like, you have a full-time job. Like, I'm like, you're like a CFO at like a company. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not a CFO of anything other than this. I was like,
Mhm.
you would be right where I am or past me if you were putting in 8, 9 hours a day. I was like,
Right.
you're doing it differently. You're coming home from work and calling the West Coast, brands because they're 3 hours behind. I was like, that you can't answer emails in 5 minutes like I can, or always be able to pick up the phone. I was like, your situation is just different than me. It doesn't
Yeah.
make you any less of a seller than me or any better. It's just that's your situation. And you
Mhm.
just have to, I tell people, I'm like, you just have to schedule and be a little bit more rigid with your schedule, in order to make it all work together. And I think that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about a lot. You know, um, like I talked to all these young guys, and they love doing I've never done FBM in my life. I've always been FBA. I don't want to deal with stuff like in mailing it out to
Don't
like
blame
each
you.
individual person. I was like, I don't want boxes all over my house. I'm like, I remember being 22 years old. I would have thought it was hilarious to have 35 boxes stacked up in my living room and take pictures of it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
absolutely. I was like, I don't want that in my house anymore. That's
Yeah.
not like that's not going to work for me. So
Exactly.
everyone in this space is just everyone is different and leading into like what they're really good at. And yeah,
Mhm.
you just can't judge what someone else is doing by what numbers they're doing. Yeah, because those orange bars, my orange bars during my OA time, they looked pretty good. I got to like 40K. If you looked at my profit, it
Yeah.
wasn't great, you know.
Yeah. And just like once again, just talking about orange bars, right? It to like dial down into it more, depending on what you're selling, determines how big those bars are. So like for example, you mentioned before like you were selling apparel and shoes. So shoes go for like what, $100, $50, like $200 a pop. I'm over here selling like vitamins and they go for like 20 to maybe like $50 a pop. So like just because your bars, not saying this is, but
Right.
like just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
your bars are bigger than mine doesn't necessarily mean you made more money than I did today. You know?
No, because half those shoes got returned.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, as you've been doing OA, have you kind of found yourself a niche within OA? Do you kind of stick? Because I never did. I just did. I just did clothes. In brand direct. I'm completely brand agnostic. I don't touch clothes anymore. But I was just clothes because that's what Miles taught, and I knew that I knew that clothes were not what I wanted to always do, but it was where the starters started, and then you expand into others. Have you kind of, as you've been doing it for several years now, kind of found like a little niche where you do really well with?
Yeah, for sure. So when I started, I've never paid for a course. I've never done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I like me getting to this point was just organically me consuming all the online content that I could for free while I was working full time. So when I was working full time, it was a 45-minute drive for me to get to work and a 45-minute drive for me to get back to work. And as I was driving to work, I would just like on the background, just put on a YouTube video, let it run, digest whatever I could subconsciously, and just I did that for like a solid year and a half, to the point where I had no more videos to watch, which is fantastic. But like if you need any advice, I don't watch videos anymore like I used to, but like for the
Mm.
viewers, Buy Box Bandits was phenomenal.
Yep, they're really good.
Chris Grant is great. Miles is
He's really good.
phenomenal.
I've
Warner,
had
I
Chris.
really loved Warner a lot. I
Yeah,
feel like I
that's
learned a
how I
lot from
found it.
him back in the day. Yeah. Um, I actually forgot what the question was now that you asked that
Chris,
I was going
I've had
with.
Chris, I've had Chris Grant on the podcast, and
He's my favorite.
he is probably one, not to mention one of the nicest guys like
Yeah.
to ever walk this earth.
Yeah.
But he is, I would say, probably overall the most knowledgeable person
Yeah.
in the Amazon space that I know
Yeah. I
of
dub him
for
Keeper King.
OA. Yeah, like
I
for
don't know if
OA.
that's
I mean,
actually if anyone's ever given him that title, but he's Keeper King.
yeah, yeah. I mean the amount of knowledge that he has, and it just goes to show for entrepreneurs, and it's probably the hardest thing of entrepreneurs to stick with one thing, and that's where me coming in from a brick and mortar business, I think helps me in the Amazon space is many entrepreneurs are not patient. That's why OA is so, they love the instant gratification, same with RX.
Entrepreneurs, just
Yeah, it's
humans are not patient,
humans.
especially
No,
in
we're
this
not
day and
patient.
age with social media. Everything is
Yeah,
like instant gratification. No one understands delayed gratification anymore.
exactly.
In my opinion, what I say is you need to go to the gym.
And
Start there.
yeah,
Start
start
there.
there. Start there. And yeah, Chris just he has done it for so long, and he is proof that if you stick with something long enough, you just become an expert. Because 3 years in this business, and it's like you're like you've been in it forever.
Yeah.
And you know, I was in my last business for 20, and the amount of knowledge that you start getting after 5 years. Sure, Amazon changes, and what Amazon was 5 years ago is not what Amazon is now. Uh, that goes for most businesses. And if you're able to evolve with it, uh, someone like Chris just has the amount of value that he brings to this space, and just what he knows. Like if Chris says it, like he's probably right.
I'm with you. Same thing. I agree. I agree. And what always impresses me about him is that he answers like every DM, which
Yeah, all the
bl-
time.
Like, I know
Yeah,
you're busy, sir. I don't know how you're doing it, but thank you so much.
yeah, he is a busy guy, and he just, yeah, he's a great example of, and is, you know, of somebody that has just grinded and done all of it. He even has done like a little bit of wholesale, but he is just stuck with OA because that's what works for him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
guys like
Oh,
Miles and Warner. Yeah, go ahead.
so your original question was niche, which now I remember. Your original
Niche,
question was
yes.
niche, yes. So I am niche down at this point, I would say. It was it was at a point it was like beauty and like vitamin supplements, sports nutrition. However, the beauty category has really been hit throughout the years with Amazon
Hmm.
with
Yeah,
things being gated. So I really don't sell beauty like that anymore. And nowadays it's very much so just like the vitamins and the sports nutrition. I couldn't really even tell you how I got so into it, but I think it's just like
it just
at the
happens.
yeah, at the beginning you like source a little bit of everything. And to tell you the truth, even when I first started, just like all the noise, you always hear about people like flipping the shoes, flipping the socks, flipping the the Nike la la la. So I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, let me try this too. And so I could I could never get it. Or I could get it, but like I never did well at it. And then
hmm,
plus things just kept getting returned and it just like pissed me off. So I was like, I don't like this category. And there's so many variations too. And that drives me
yes,
wild. So I don't know how, but just like maybe just like through the process of just like trying different things, I just naturally found that hey, I'm really good at sourcing these vitamin supplements and like these like sports nutrition sort of products. Like let's hone in. And that's kind of like my approach to all things in life, where it's like the riches are in the niches, pick a niche and stick to it.
yeah, yeah. I figured after being in this business for a little while, most OA people or most sellers in general naturally kind of flow to a certain niche. Um, Not on purpose. It just kind of happens.
Yeah. And
Um,
especially when you first start, you're doing everything, right? So you're like, you're buying the product, you're shipping it to your house, you're packing it yourself. So I think naturally just through that process as well, I was like, hey, these vitamins are lightweight and I could shove a bunch of them in the box. So I like this product.
yeah, simple. I always
Versus,
like, yeah, versus having to multi-pack, bubble
yeah,
wrap.
yeah. And then like
It gets expensive.
the shoes, you gotta put a rubber band on it. Like the clothing, maybe you have to take a sticker off of it, like the retail sticker off of it.
Yeah,
So it was just too much.
yeah.
the
It
juice
was
the
never
juice
my
wasn't worth the squeeze.
thing. Now it's interesting that you said that you have never done any sort of online coaching, and I think that fits perfectly into it shows how much of a gender difference is in this business because us men and boys, we are so damn uh what's the word, we're not patient. So as
Okay.
soon as we start looking on something, I couldn't take the time to actually learn it and take my time and listen to all the videos and everything like that. I was not patient enough. So I was like, ooh, I'll just pay for coaching. It worked out. Everything was wonderful. Miles was fantastic. The online coaching that I'm in now with Operation Amazon is fantastic. Both completely worth the money. But I knew when I was doing it, I'm doing this because I'm not taking my time to learn it myself. I'm going to have someone hold my hand. And I was a little bit on a time crunch, anyways. It was a good choice for me. It's a good choice for a lot of people. But as I've been told by my daughters and other women in my life, that girls are usually more patient, more methodical, and all around smarter at analyzing than men, which is 100% true. Uh, so, what is it like? And hey, the majority of this business, a lot of us, you're alone in front of your computer. You're not really working side by side with somebody unless you're really doing a group RA or something like that. But what is it like being one of the few women in this space? of Amazon and just in general. I don't think in the UGC space and making the videos, I think that might be a little bit more even.
Yeah.
But definitely in this space, what is it like?
Touch upon you speaking about like men, boys pivoting to like doing coaching versus maybe women not. I would say, in my opinion, that's more of an individual thing, like how you learn and how you do things. Like I feel like I'm more so like a lone wolf anyway versus
Mm-hmm.
like group activity all the time. I don't like a lot of noise. I like curated noise, I guess you could say.
Sure.
So that was just like never the natural path for me. Um, I'm the type of person who's like, you can tell me what to do and the right way to do something a million times, but it'll go in one ear and out the other. I have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have to actually lose my money to be like, "Ooh, that's
Yeah.
bad. I shouldn't do that again." But like,
Yeah.
but at that point, it's like, "Oh, I just need to learn once, and I won't make that mistake again."
Sure.
So in regards to like women in this space, I think we exist more than we realize. Like there's more of us in the
I agree.
space than we actually realize. I just think we just move different. We're just like quieter. We don't, like maybe they're like me where, we're not constantly in the group chats like networking. We're
Sure.
just like kind of figuring it out on our own, or we're curating our like direction that we're going. Like we're watching certain people, we like them and we're specifically reaching out to them versus joining a coaching group or like a networking group or group chats or whatever people are doing nowadays.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's more in the space. Same with people my age. I think there's far more people over their 40s that have been in this
Yeah,
space and probably been in this space for a very long
yeah.
time. They
It's
just
probably a social media thing,
Yeah, they just
like
don't do social media. They don't
yeah,
need to. If I started this in 2012, doing and I would say it, I've been doing brand direct wholesale for 10 years. I wouldn't need social media by now.
right.
I would have my own book of business and there would be no reason for it unless I just wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. So I
Mhm.
do think there's many more women in this space than we think. I think they have watched the videos, they have taken their time, they didn't bother doing the online coaching, and they've just figured it out themselves that are doing it. And they
Yeah,
may, because there's lots of people that are on social media, they're just not posting, they're just there to watch
exactly.
and take in the content because there's a ton of good content out there to learn. I've learned more on social media in the past year than I ever expected to learn or be involved with.
Mhm. You learn something sometimes without even expecting it.
You do. So, in closing, what are the plans or goals for you kind of going forward? What have you looked into and what parts are you looking to expand your business or in what parts I guess more so like, for me, I own some commercial real estate and that is kind of my retirement and what I work on the side and what I want to buy more of. I say that I'm a little bit of the opposite of a kid in their 20s who's trying to build wealth. I am really trying to not have to touch my real estate uh, and collect on that and create income for me now. Because I always tell people, I was like, I'm a little backwards. I had a business that did really well. I have retirement. What I don't have is like now money, which is really backwards. But it's the situation that I'm in. So I said, I'm not looking to scale this to $500,000 a month. That's not what I want to do. I think I'm going to be happy around 2 to 250 in the brand direct space where I can cut down my hours, maybe buy more real estate and just create freedom for me. People that are younger might completely different. They're just starting out. They're trying to build wealth and build savings. Um, what are your goals kind of going forward, or what have you kind of looked in to see where would you like to go in this space?
Yeah. So my main goal for this year is to be less operator and be more CEO and like pivot from like the day-to-day grind and more overseeing. So I've started doing that by hiring my VA and
Mm.
she's doing phenomenally. And just, she just started, so I can only imagine where we'll be by the end of this year. Ideally, I'd like her to take over, manage that for me, so that I can then focus my energy into the next thing that's going to move the needle. Now, AIP is something that I am in, and I can definitely invest more of my time into it because I've already seen the value of it. And like I've mentioned, I know plenty of people who make very good money off of it. And then just by continuing to do that, though the skills that are required to do AIP translate into so many other different things that are popping off now in this day and age. So like for example, like the UGC, the TikTok shop, and even like personal branding, which is like something that, I want to do as well. And from that point, what I want to do with that brand, I mean, as it stands right now, it's like e-commerce and speak from like a woman's perspective because unfortunately that's not that loud of a voice in this space, and it's a
Hmm.
voice that's required by all means. So
Hmm.
starting off with there and just seeing where that branches off at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It is pretty wild how many different ways you can go once you get into this space.
Mhm.
Um, it's just it's never ending,
Yeah.
really.
And just seeing what
It
resonates with you too, like what genuinely resonates with you, because yeah, it's important that whatever you do monetizes for you. That's ultimately what drives us to do
Sure.
something, is because it's making us money. But I think it's really important to be passionate about it too, to feel fulfilled and to actually enjoy what you're doing. When you feel that way, it doesn't necessarily feel like work.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the biggest reasons why I've really enjoyed the brand direct space was I enjoyed the feeling of the partnership. Now me being in it 8 months, I finally had my first brand where I did what I told them I was going to do when I started buying from them, and I doubled their sales.
Nice.
Um, I didn't, when I told them, well, I didn't tell them I was going to double their sales, but when I told them what I wanted to do, I was still so new. I was like, man, I hope I can do this.
Mhm.
And then I did it, and I got an exclusive from them because of it. And now I spend so much money with them. I It started off as sales, and now we're working together. They need me, I need them, and it's like we work together. They said, hey, we're doing some new packaging. Um, how would you like the packaging? Like, can we make it a little smaller? Can we shrink it? Can we take, shrink it down a little bit so it's not 8 inches, it's 6 inches. And they're
Mhm.
starting to like even work with me with things like that. And you start to see like, oh, this is fun. This is fulfilling. Like I am making money for this brand. They are making money for me. We are working together. I was like, I'm in the right space. This is what I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with.
You feel like you have
Um,
skin in the game now.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And you touched on having a VA, and I have said this on this podcast. I've done entire episodes on it of the absolute amazing feeling it is and how it can change your business to have an amazing right hand. Um, I had it in my taxi business. I had the same head mechanic for 20 years. And he well, we're the same age. So we both started when we were super young. And it takes so much pressure off of me because I can just tell her I need something done. She handles all my back end stuff. I do a ton of page optimization, building listings, A plus, all that stuff I do. And she just does it all for me. And I can just do sales because that's
Mhm.
what I'm good at. I don't
Mhm.
want to build flat files. I don't want to submit them. I don't want to learn how. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And she does all that, and it frees me up where I just know at the end of the day, kind of like my mechanic for 20 years, I knew at the end of the day, like all the cabs are fixed and I'm good. Like, and just the opposite, I also know what it feels like to have a bad employee and how they can just make your days miserable and create more work for you. So I
Mhm.
tell, and especially when I talk to younger people, I'm like, when you do find a VA and their work, do not take advantage of that and don't think that's easy to find. when you find someone that's good and you're training them and you can just tell like, oh, they're picking this up. Like, that's the way I wanted it done. They
Yeah.
get it done quickly, and it can really expand your business, and most importantly, start to give you like that freedom
Yeah.
where you don't feel like you got to be plastered to your computer watching for every single message Amazon sends you to make sure you get, and it that sounds like that's what you're starting to find in your VA. Is she
Yeah.
full time?
She is part-time now, but she wants more hours, so we're getting there. Yeah.
See, there you
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
There you go. Yeah, I was somebody that, because of what I was doing, I used a hiring agency, and it cost some money, but I knew that I was hiring a position that I could not train. Being so new in Amazon, I could put in cases, but I don't know the back end of Amazon, and how to optimize listings and all that. And I didn't have the time to learn. So it was like, no, I need someone ready to kind of like hit the ground running and work with me, not me spending hours upon hours training them on something like I don't really know how to do.
Yeah.
And that, that ended up working out for me in my situation, but that doesn't mean, I always tell people, like, you do not need an agency to find a good VA. I was like, you can find it a million different ways. So, and now your VA, does she helps you across all your platforms? Everything you're
Currently
doing?
just Amazon. Currently just Amazon.
But
But
she
who
might
knows
be
in the
somebody,
future?
right? In the future, you could expand her to like all your platforms. And the great part about having a great VA is if you need another VA, or they know people.
Exactly.
My VA was like, when we got our first exclusive, it was like, hey, we need to do all these pictures and videos. And it's like, my VA is really good. She's like, I'm not going to be able to create the pictures we need. We're going to need a graphic designer. She was like, she worked at an agency for a long time. She's like, I have a graphic designer. I'd like to know her graphic designer is in her apartment complex also, which is crazy. And she was like, why don't we use him as like you can just pay him like per job and have him. So like, it was just fantastic. I had one that I already knew was good. Like, my VA had worked with him for like 2 years, and it was really those two working together. It's not much of me. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. Why don't we go ahead and pay him? You two can work together.
And it's probably even more beneficial at that point that they are neighbors.
Yeah, she goes, oh, well, he's coming over. He's coming over with his wife tonight, and like they're having dinner and like going over some of the stuff. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I was like, that's a great idea. So, yeah, I think there's just, I think everything today for people to know is that there are many different ways on e-commerce to make money. And it's really about, what is, I think, the hardest thing for people, patience. It is not going to happen overnight. It is
consistency.
Yeah. Like with anything, like with going to the gym.
Everything.
Yeah.
Start at the gym. That's where you'll learn.
Yeah. Start at the gym. The gym is, it's something I start every single day with. Like, that's how I have to start. I'm one of those people, like, I like a schedule.
Same here.
I like a list.
Yeah.
That works for me. If I don't, you can't just drop me in and be like, figure it out. I will be all over the place.
Yes.
So
same here.
Well, Christina, thank you so much for coming on today. We are going to make sure that we link all of your social media in this video below. But let everyone know, where can we find you on social media?
Sure. So primarily I am on Instagram. The handle is Ecom Whisperer. I also have an X profile, but I haven't used it in a while. It is _Ecom Whisperer.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we link all that. Guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Next week, I don't think I have anyone for next week, and I am never doing a podcast alone again. Christina, I tried.
Haven't you done a couple? Wait, isn't this a podcast alone? Aren't you alone now?
Alone, but I usually always interview people, or I bring the Gap King back on anytime I don't have someone to interview, because he and I can always talk for an hour. Omar can talk to anybody, but I did try when the other two, when Pete and Blake left Amazon, I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, well, I'll just do a podcast alone tonight. And like I wrote it down in a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and I hopped on, and oh my God, is that difficult?
It's hard when
And
you don't have someone to volley off of you.
yeah, I felt like I was staring at the camera and I didn't know what to say next. So yeah, no, I found out I'm like, oh, if I need to do a podcast alone, I need to have much more of an outline. Because winging it it was a little awkward, but we got through it. So, but thank you so much for coming on, Christina.
Thank you for the
We'll be
invite.
excited to watch your growth in like e-commerce and where everybody goes. And we'll have to have you back on the podcast one day.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks for joining today. Remember to like and subscribe to the station, and we will be back next week with another episode of Marketplace Mavericks, guys.